Hey, witches!
Hi, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Onyx Storm, part 3, I think.
3. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, it's kicking up a bit, but also I'm getting really, really annoyed. So,
That's
there's
valid.
that. There's that. Um, so I was decorating my office the other day, or yesterday, and we were listening to some part of this new podcast called The Machine, and we were listening to the episode and we finished it, and all of a sudden music started playing up again, and I was like, man, why does this music sound familiar? And I was sitting there like, huh, and then it started like crescendoing, and I was like, is this ours? Is this my podcast?
Yeah.
Is this Brady's? And then all of a sudden it was like, hey, witches! And then you hear me and Will go, like, Will impersonates you and like his high-pitched voice, and then he goes, welcome back. And I was like, you didn't have to do it like that. Damn. And he was like, what? That's what you sound like. And I was like, shut the fuck up. Go hang my diplomas. We getting out of here. I'm gonna.
The other day, Brittany was listening. She's pretty far behind.
Will's probably like a year behind. Let's be real.
Well, the last one I remember her listening to was they were crossing the straits. Amaris and Tanith had just woke up Amaris to tell her that there was something out there, and then they saw the Aurora Borealis and were like out on the ice screaming, and she was like, get back on the ship. This is why we tell people. But then, like, I think the next one or the one after that, you say hello hi instead of hi hello. And she about had a conniption. She was like,
listen to a different episode until you get to that part, and then just like replay the mine. You'll be fine. Hello, hi.
Yeah, she was mad at you.
Join the world.
She was like, you have one job.
And I fucked it up. On purpose or not on purpose? That's the next question. Anyways, but we left off on chapter 14.
Yeah.
And Dane had to get was preparing to go get all the goodies for Violet. Man, you like started talking about a different book, and I started thinking about those people. Anyway, so he's getting ready to go get all the goodies for her. What is it? He also did you hear that?
I did.
I have no idea what that was. But and then Zayden is trying to have some alone time with Violet, but unfortunately he can't because he's a teacher. So that's kind of where we left off, in like that little angsty moment with Aura.
Yeah, and so the very first thing I said about chapter 15 was on page 130 because
131 was my favorite one.
they're going into the first class with Zayden. And she's like, is this where you've been hiding? And he's like, blah, 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 blah. And it's not like you've been accessible. Even if she was accessible, you guys can't spend time together because of the
rule.
The codex or whatever you're following. So isn't it better that she's keeping herself busy and not just sitting there pining?
Like Bella in Twilight.
Right. Where the the chair, the camera goes around her chair like 17 times for 15 minutes in one movie.
Yeah, and then in the book, it's just like 6 blank pages with the months on it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Just like that.
Ugh.
So on the next page, so basically he's a teacher. He's going to practice strengthening everyone's signets and how to fight against, signets of the same caliber. You're like weak ones, so water, ice against fire, all of that. So just, getting ready for whatever may be coming their way. And there's this one guy who's like a dick.
I would be a dick too if I was a guy and my name was Lauren. I'm just saying.
Lauren. Maybe it's Lauren. Lauren. I don't know. Anyways, regardless.
That doesn't make it better. His name is Lauren.
Anyways, he's being a dick. He is very upset. And because Zayden is freshly graduated and now he's back as a professor and he doesn't think that he's qualified enough to do any of these things. And Zayden is essentially like, all right, put your money where your mouth is. Get down here. Let's go. And I love it. It's like pure ecstasy for me when somebody who is clearly a fucking ass, like, straight up gets humbled.
Yeah.
By somebody who is clearly outmatched. It's like, okay, you challenge the lion and you're literally a tiny little mouse, and it's just great.
Can we talk about the exchange on the bottom of page 132? As this is happening. Yes. As this is happening.
Is great.
Yeah, so Zayden is just a fucking badass, and they're all just sitting here watching this fight, right? And Riddick says, I'm either completely in love with your boyfriend or utterly terrified of him. Not sure at the moment. Then Kat says, both. You could be both, trust me. Traeger, you shouldn't be either. And Violet is just like biting back a smile, like trying not to seem too cocky, and she's like, I'm never scared of him, and he's not my boyfriend. Because he can't be right now.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'm just
it's
having
called
an
allergies.
But yeah, I love that entire exchange. I was super.
I honestly just get real frustrated when she's like, I'm never afraid of him. You don't have to say that right now.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, I would just be like, he's not my boyfriend. Like,
I don't know.
Focus on that.
If Kat was there and they have this like extreme rivalry, I probably would be like. I've also learned something about myself as I'm reading all these books, all these fantasy books. My favorite character in ACOTAR was Nesta. My favorite character in this is Kat is one of my favorites. I don't know that there's a comparable character. Maybe Yaslin in Night and Its Moon. But I'm also listening to this other series right now. I'm on the last book of the series, and there's a character called Medinia, and she is my fucking favorite, and she is that same energy, and I'm just like
petty.
Yeah.
Same.
But also like a fucking badass and like super independent and not wanting to rely on anybody. Yeah, just realizing that I have a type of character that is my favorite. I also think that you would really enjoy this other character or this other series. That's the first book is called Court This Cruel and Lovely by Stasia Stark, but it's really good.
Okay, send it to me.
Okay.
Is this something I could easily like listen to and Never mind. Let's be real. I won't be able to listen to shit at my job.
The main character, it doesn't give Reese vibes, but he kind of gives a combination. I don't know. More Reese than anybody else, but his name is Lorian, and it's a really good series.
Yeah. His name's Lorian. Just like the guy that...
Lorian.
Lorian. Oh, I thought you said Lauren. And I was like, yeah, just like the dude that got his ass kicked.
Lorian.
Lorian. Got it. Anyways.
Yes, anyways.
You know, I don't know much about the Flyers. But Traeger feels kind of is starting to give me like, what is it called? Riddick vibes.
Yeah. I can see that.
Like he has, like, we haven't met his like full whatever, his full potential. And I mean, that's kind of like how Riddick was. Riddick would like say maybe something here, something there. Before he would actually Is it the shirt that you're wearing?
I wore this shirt yesterday. I don't know what's happening.
Oh, I don't know. Because like on 135, he looks at Kat and goes, "You're gonna get over him at some point, right?"
Yes.
Seems like a waste of time to chase someone who doesn't want you when there are plenty of people who do. Traeger.
I also laughed, or not laughed, but kind of, because on page 134, right before that, Zayden, Eric's like, "Are you going to teach us how to defeat you?" to Zayden, and Zayden's like, "I can teach you to try, but there's only one person." You don't want to be in here right now. We're talking about Onyx Storm. I see it. It's cute. It's going to be dead by the time I get out of this. She got the dog a new toy, and it's going to be destroyed by the time we're done recording.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So Zayden is like, "I can teach you to try, but there's only one person capable of taking me down one day, and it isn't you, Grey Castle." And Violet's like embarrassed.
Everyone looks at her, and it's like, if you weren't thinking about like their relationship in any way, shape, or form, and you're just thinking about like the bond that they have because of their dragons.
Yeah, you're like, oh, what?
Why is she embarrassed?
Right.
He's doing it to get a rise out of you.
Mm-hmm. And then it's her turn. It's her turn to face Zayden, and that's the end of chapter 15.
I'm honestly surprised, though, they allowed the, like, Aura and Eidos and all of them allowed this next scene to happen. Because basically, all he has to do is just surround them in a giant fucking shadow bubble, and then they could do whatever.
I feel like it's kind of like government now. Like, they're so full of themselves and so sure that they're correct and that they know everything that they don't think about the power that the other side has. So they don't think about the fact that he can do that, or that he would have the balls to do that in front of an entire class of cadets. But if they didn't know that, then they don't know Zayden very well.
Right, like, he might not, try to do
but I also
sex right in there, but
I also like that even though there is a moment where he like surrounds them in shadow and they get to have a moment, he is still trying to teach her how to defeat a power like his. And I feel like that's going to be important eventually, because as we learned, dark wielders can have signets as well. And if there's one with lightning, there's probably one with shadows. So, she might come up against, I mean, I know in Zayden's mind, he's like, eventually she's going to have to fight me.
I was going to say, like, if he somehow loses all control of himself before she finds a cure, before even if there is a cure, like she might actually have to fight him.
Yeah.
So
she
is good knowledge to have, regardless.
Yeah. And she keeps asking, why only me? Asking like, why am I the only one that can kill you or that can take you down?
Are you serious?
Yeah, why only me?
She constantly is like, if I die, so does Zayden. I can't die. Bitch, what do you mean?
Yeah.
You like forget all sense when he says that in front of everybody?
Right.
You got me fucked up.
And then he's like, because you're the only one capable of killing me. And I'm just like, yeah, because that'll happen. She'll totally do that. Like, she's not going to do that.
She'll kill you through accidentally dying.
Right. That's the more likely scenario.
But okay. Whatever.
And then they're kind of having a chat. Like the squad is having a chat about like who has started channeling, who's done this, who's done that. And then they start talking about the random gods for whatever reason. And then Dane shows up. And he's like, can I talk to you alone? And I was like, no. And then the very next page, she says, all right. And I'm like, no, I still don't trust him.
Oh, yeah, because they're all like drinking beer and ale and not beer, but ale and like just enjoying their evening.
Yeah.
And he just pops up out of nowhere like, all right, get over here.
Right.
However, it's good. It's not like trying to get away from Zayden, do this or do that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it is, but I still don't like it.
I do like, though, that, like, I know they're trying to be all, they're trying to be buddy-buddy with the Flyers. They're trying to invite them to things. They're trying to do all of this stuff. And I do appreciate that, because, you know, that's how you make friends. And, you know, get that camaraderie. But I like that we're seeing a little bit of, like, sides from everybody. Like, we're seeing a little bit more from Kat's side and, like, her understanding of stuff. And, Traeger's side and Marin's side and, you know, a little bit of everything. We're kind of getting more minor character development, but
yeah,
it's slow going.
Yeah. I don't know, this whole thing with Dane, like
Dane's mood was really off and it really kind of like shot up some red flags.
It didn't feel right. And so but he's like, you'll have it by Monday morning. And she's thinking in her head, for better or worse, my fate rests in the hands of Dane Atos. And I'm like, don't like that. Don't like that at all. Don't like that at all, chapter 16.
I just don't understand why he was so off.
I don't either. I didn't like any of it. And I'm like, did he find something out? Is he still like pining after her? What's happening?
Did he grab her at all? Because I wonder if, well, you would think Dane wouldn't, like, not be able to control his, like, power. He was a wing leader, for God's sakes. He'd have to be able to control it, but did he, not
on this page he doesn't.
Because I was going to say, does he, like, accidentally grab her and he sees, like, a memory of something and that's, like, what kind of sets his mood off, but...
Right. Not in that page he doesn't. I don't know.
But maybe he grabbed somebody's.
Yeah. That's the end of chapter 16. Chapter 17. Ooh. The blurb.
Yes. I have so many things about this, because this blurb, though.
This blurb.
So it is So it says, "My brightest light, I meant to prepare you, but only had time for half the lessons you need, half the history, half the truth. And now time runs short. I failed Brennan the day I watched him walk the parapet, failed Mira when I could not stop her from following, but I fear my death will fail you. Your mother and I trust no one, and neither can you." Recovered correspondence of Lieutenant Colonel Asher Sorengale to Violet Sorengale. I think he was murdered. His
I would
heart gave
agree.
out. No. He probably drank some tea and like Markham killed him.
Yeah, something happened. It was definitely not just a normal death.
Because I wonder if Daddy Sorengale was teaching Violet all of the legitimate truths, everything that could be needed, so that when she doesn't cross the parapet, she enters
Yeah,
the library, she can start fixing things the way
yeah,
they need to be. And obviously when that didn't happen, that's when Mama was like, "Nope, parapet it is," kind of thing.
yeah. And she did that to protect Violet, but
Mm-hmm.
it's an interesting situation. I don't know, but he definitely knew he was dying. They're going to die.
Yeah.
So it's really weird.
It's like, if you didn't have half the time for all of this, like, why didn't you get prepared?
Right. Like, how did you, and if you knew you were going to die,
Why didn't you quickly say everything?
or yeah, or I don't know, leave, like
I
something.
think he was given some type of medicinal herb combo, especially because Markham was in cahoots with everything, including with her like number one choice for a healer.
Yeah. Yeah. Something's off about that. But,
But
but yeah.
anyways,
Then they're in formation and they're doing the death roll, and um Sloane comes up to Violet, which if you forget who Sloane is, that's Liam's little sister who up till this point has like hated Violet. Um but she's like, I need to give you something, follow me. And she does, but Sloane is like still beating herself up about Mama Sorengale. Um
it's nice seeing uh her kind of go through the motions that Violet went through for Liam.
yeah. She's like, I swear it wasn't out of revenge. I'm sorry I didn't try to stop her. Like, she's
Remorseful.
very like feeling survivor's guilt almost, and Violet's like, stop. Like, we need someone had to die to power that stone, and the other people that were there, like, I couldn't have done it because Taryn, Segale, Zayden, everybody would be dead. um Brennan is one of the leaders of the revolution. Eric is irreplaceable. And I wouldn't trade you for any words, Sloane. So, like, yeah.
It
And then,
was a thing that had to be done.
yeah. And then, Jasenia gave her 2 tomes to give to Violet that were given to Jasenia by leadership this morning, which was Dane. So, yeah, she's got the stuff. But then on this page 144, she's like, Sloane's like, it's a rumor is you're headed north. And Violet's like, yeah, unfortunately that might be true. Um, and, um, she's like, maybe Grady's onto something. And Sloane says, I hope for all of our sakes he is. And Violet says, me too. But then in her head, she's like, but I can't ignore the little voice of intuition insisting we should head south. Then don't ignore it. Just don't ignore
Just
it. Do
do
what
it.
you know you need to do, because fuck Grady.
Fuck Grady, but also, like, couldn't she, I don't know, make Taryn like involved on this decision. Like
Yeah, I mean,
Taryn,
honestly, if Taryn and Andarna were like, no, we're going south, what the fuck is Grady gonna do?
yeah, he's not going with them.
I feel like he's trying to, not trying to sabotage them necessarily, but I feel like he's trying to make his name. And so he's like, no, we're gonna do it my way.
Yeah, because he has the opportunity to, you know, do whatever it is that he's trying to fucking do.
Yeah. But he's wrong, so we're not gonna do what he says. No, I'm just kidding.
You're wrong.
So this whole book of research, it just, I was sweating during this part. Okay. So he leaves her a little clue about what the password is, and the way that he has this journal or whatever you want to call it set up, if that password gets entered wrong, there's like some chambers inside that will bust and destroy all the research. So his clue is first love is irreplaceable. And we're like, they're like going back and forth over it. So is it Lilith? It is 6 letters. Is it Lilith because that was his first love? And I was like, I don't think that's it.
That would definitely be way too obvious.
Yeah.
I like understand the thought process behind it. But yeah, it would definitely be way too obvious for any of that to work.
Right. Well, and then they're like, she's like, he would want me to overthink. Is it my first love? Like, what's happening? And then I'm like, they're like, who is your first love? And she like doesn't say. She's like, my father couldn't stand the first guy I really dated and never knew about the second. And Eric is like, how many letters? And she's like, 6.
Could be.
And immediately I was like, Heldon!
I know, I was like, oh, no. Because I was sitting there, I was like, it could be Violet, because like Mira and Brennan had a much better relationship with his mom, and Mira did too. But
well,
like,
and neither one of their names work. They're too long or too short.
And I was like, well, I don't think it's Lilith. It could honestly be Violet, because that could not necessarily be his first love, but like,
right. Nope. Then I was like, Heldon! And then page 147, Riddick. So they're in. Okay. They're in class again with Zayden as the teacher, and there's a like assistant teacher here today. Yay, Garrick. Riddick makes a comment.
Garrick.
Well, Violet makes a comment to Riddick, and then Riddick makes a comment back, and I'm just like, stop. So, because Imogen and Garrick are like flirting, and Riddick says, oh God, just stop flirting and fuck already. And everybody just like slowly looks at him, and he's like, I said that out loud, didn't I? And she's like, yeah, you did. Garrick's gonna blow you off the mat. And Riddick says, now that I might enjoy, depending on the method he chooses. And then he's like, I'm gonna stop talking now.
I love him so much.
Yes, I was fucking dying. But I will say, Rhiannon is a good squad leader because they're like figuring out how they're gonna fight against this, and Rhiannon's like, we go as a squad, we go together to fight him.
Yeah, girl, eat him up.
Yeah, because in real life, that's what would happen. They would go as a squad. So, anyway, I liked that as well. Then Halden shows up. Or did he already show up? He shows up.
And this exchange, not necessarily like prior to like the confirmation from the book, but like just the way the way she tenses, and it's like, oh fuck, it's Halden.
Yeah.
Yes, it is absolutely her first love right there.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because Eric pops out of nowhere, like, could be. Definitely not, but
yeah. I can't. There's this whole exchange about how he cheated on her and she walked in on them, and he's like trying to justify it because he was suffering the loss of his twin. He was not in his like right mind. And she's like, bye, boy, bye. Okay.
sure.
And then he's like, I'm here to help you. And gives
No,
her
you're
a little
not.
note thing. I don't know. This seemed so not like too easy almost. The note at first.
Oh, yeah.
So she gives it's a note from Takaris, and there are books that she asked for. And King Cortland of Deverelli has agreed to a single meeting, noble blood only, for the reasonable price of the Emilian citrine. Queen Maria has agreed to gift the gem to him, but will not be responsible for its retrieval from the display in Anka. Please let me know when you have the citrine in hand so I can schedule our visit. And it's just like, no, I don't like it. I don't trust him. I don't like any of this.
Good. Yeah.
Don't like any of this. And then Halden goes back to jealous ex-boyfriend. He's like,
yeah, it's honestly really weird.
Yeah. Tell me, is it true what they say? You and Ryerson?
The way he says it. Ugh. Ryerson?
And she's like, if you're asking if I'm in love with him, then the answer is wholeheartedly yes. If you're prodding to see if we're still together, then let me assure you we're adhering to the code of conduct in the way you never bothered to do. You can report that to your father.
Get him.
I wasn't asking for my father, Vi. I was asking for me.
Yeah, fuck you, bitch.
Yeah.
We don't like cheaters over here, thanks.
No. And then he's being too much. He's doing too much. Halden's just doing too much because that's what he stays doing. And she's like, your first love is your dragon. Once you accept that, another man hardly feels like a challenge. And then she has like an epiphany moment there, but it's really short and kind of glossed over. But she's like, he's right. Our first priorities are our dragons. And then he says, besides, with all this time we have coming up together on this mission, I thought maybe you'd at least be willing to have a quiet dinner with me. Tell me you don't let your non-boyfriend control you. Allow me to apologize properly the way I should have 3 years ago. And then he reaches up to touch her hair, and shadows blast him across the fucking ship into the rock wall.
It's like, oh, someone is upset.
Yeah. So that wasn't subtle at all, Zayden.
No, it's okay, Zayden. We understand you're upset and that you have big feelings.
Yeah.
That's okay.
We need to
What's
use
not
our
okay
words.
is what you did.
Yeah.
I understand, but no.
Yeah. And that's the end of chapter 17, with Halden hitting the wall. The Crown Prince of Navarre hitting the wall.
That's what I'm talking about, bro.
In chapter 18. Zayden. I'm just cracking up. Because he says, Let's get three things straight, your highness. First, I have remarkable hearing thanks to the shadows at your very feet. Second, I don't control Violet, never have, never will. But third, and most importantly, she really honestly hasn't thought about you. At least not since the second she set eyes on me. And I was like,
honey, yeah.
yes.
Get him. We love a protective boyfriend, as long as he doesn't get weird.
Yeah. And then we're back to trying to open the journal. And like I said, Violet had an epiphany on that last page of that last chapter. And she realized that a writer's first love or first priority is their dragon. So it's not Lilith, it's Lilith's dragon, which was Aimsir. And she's like panicking. She's like, if I'm wrong, everything, like this is the end of the world. But of course, she's not. And it opens, and there's a note to Violet.
And it's a very long note, but it kind of gives her like an idea about the history and like reminding her that history is just a collection of stories written by those who can influence them, whether or not it's for the good or bad of the country, but like to remember the lessons that like he taught her, and then how he hoped to have all of this written so that they could read it together and decipher everything together. But basically, this, like, I wanted to send you here, I wanted to do this, I wanted to do all of these things. And then he said, like, should you travel under the banner of Navarre, beware their king. He bears grudges and speaks only in profit. I'm so sorry this falls to you, my brightest light. Trust only Mira. Not Brennan. Not Brennan.
So I was thinking that too. But at this point, and as far as they know, Brennan is dead, right?
Oh my god, that's so true. Yeah, you're right. Because like
Brennan died before their dad died.
Yeah, the father was still alive. Yeah.
Yeah. So but I also was like, but did he know? And also,
see, I don't know.
Trust
I
only
feel
Mira,
like
because the mom was still alive at that point.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe like see, this kind of falls back into the I think he was murdered idea, because she knew about everything. She chose her path based on her
code of conduct.
Like well, yeah, but like the protection of her family.
Yeah.
She wanted to protect her family the best way she could, have her children grow up and do all of these things. And so maybe the father was at ends with that, because like, yes, he wants his kids to be safe. However, he knows this is more or less for the better.
Yeah. And maybe he didn't believe that she would put Navarre aside to,
yeah.
But yeah, that was an interesting line.
Yeah. But I completely forgot Brennan was dead or what they believed to be dead. Completely forgot. But regardless of that,
yeah.
So he's talking. Xaden freaks the fuck out.
Yeah. Did you love him?
He shows up out of fucking nowhere. So it was Rhiannon and Violet together in the room, and because it was like from her dad, Rihanna was like, I'll give you some space to be alone with him, like all of these things, like, being, nice. And then all of a sudden fucking Zayden pops through and starts freaking the fuck out. Yeah. And is like getting mad and upset over the fact that she dated Halden at one point in time and never once mentioned it. And if she didn't mention it, then it must not have been worth mentioning.
Right.
But he's like upset. He's talking about how he like he's jealous. He's talking about how there's so many things he can't do. There's so many things he wants to do. He would like siphon essentially from the earth and from any single power to like meet his requested end, and how all of this stuff is happening. And he was just kind of, I don't want to say he's getting like abusive, but like the possession part of it is outside of the cute realm. It's like, oh, you're jealous, like, oh, you're a little possessive. Okay, that can be cute. But once it's a specific threshold, then it's like worrisome. And to be honest, Zayden's giving Tamlin vibes, and I
think that part of it is because he's really insecure about himself right now, because he's like, I'm a venom, I'm the worst, I'm like, you shouldn't love me, you shouldn't want to be with me, you should want to kill me, like. And so I think that he's being or needing extra like affirmation that she doesn't think badly of him, even though he thinks badly of himself. And then he's like, but he does say, he's like, I can handle it, but I have to know about whether or not she loved Halden. And he's like, she finally says, not in the way that I love you. And then he like, you loved him. Like he gets all,
yeah, it's, I think, and what she should have probably, I mean, not that I wrote the story, but like if she was legitimately having this conversation with him, the way she should have worded it probably would be, my guess, would have been like, I love the idea of him.
Right.
The idea of what could have been.
Right.
Not
him. Yeah.
But she didn't, so.
But then she kind of goes on to say that, like, it was like a honeymoon phase. I was infatuated, and that's all I knew of love at the time. So yes, I would say that I loved him. But he is like kind of throwing a fit, and she's like, hold up, I have to watch you teach Kat and be around Kat all the fucking time. And he's like, it's not the same, I never loved Kat. Well, she basically just said that she never really loved him either. Like, chill out.
I think, though, part of this is that, like, women, the way they describe love and relationship and, like, the honeymoon phase and all of that kind of stuff is different. Like, everybody says women fall quick and hard and fast and, like, whatever. Yeah. I honestly think it's a little bit more complex than that. I think men fall and kind of stay there.
Yeah.
Like, you either truly give it your all or you don't. But like, women are like layers.
Fair.
They're like ogres. They have layers.
Ogres are like onions.
Onions have layers. Ogres have layers. You get the point. So basically, like, she,
you know what else has layers? Cake.
I love me some cake. I want to watch that movie now. Right? Okay. So basically, he talks about like, from the very get-go, he never loved Kat. He was just had to do this, and it was like an obligation. Yeah. She's like, oh, it's like a honeymoon phase, and it's like, what? You still loved him. Yeah. So, like, but I think
I will say that like he does get over it kind of quickly for this moment.
It's kind of like the Tamlin thing when like when they were under the mountain and like the only like the one chance he had at like saving her and getting her out from under the mountain, he just like makes out with her and then like the whole world's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's fine all over again. That's kind of like what happened here.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, it's not fine, but thank you for making out with me.
He's like, please have mercy and say something, anything that distracts me. And she's like, my dad left me a letter. Because they're like, he's trying not to have sex with her right now. Like, he's like trying to control himself. And she's like, my dad left me a letter. And if that wouldn't kill the mood real quick, your dead dad left you a letter. Okay. Yep. That cooled me right down. What's it say?
There it is.
But I do still love that she's like, he needs me to go to Deverelli. And he's like, okay, we'll go. Like, there's no question. No, I need more information. Okay, we're going. And that is why I love him. And then also he's like, if I ask you to stay behind all cozy and safe while I get the citrine, and she shakes her head no, and he's like, yeah, that's what I thought. At least it will be a chance to evaluate how we function in the squad Grady has put together.
True.
And he just like doesn't try to force her, which is where he deviates from Tamlin, because Tamlin fucking locked her in the fucking house. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the end of chapter 18.
Woo!
Chapter 19, they are...
Okay, listen, there was a lot of shit that happened during this.
Yeah.
But it was worth it.
It was. They're going to... I forget what the place was called. And I don't remember.
Anka? It was near Somerset, and Anka.
They're going to get the citrine, and they have their riot of 8. That's like their squad that's going to go on the trip to find it and Darna's kind, and it's kind of like a trial run. So it's Mira, Xaden, Violet, Grady, and then Aura, and 3 other bitches that I can't remember who they are. Pew and Foley, and somebody else. Captain Henson. Anyway, they're going to get this, and it all feels like a trap.
Oh, always. Every time.
So it feels like a trap, and they're like going to get this, and they're like, I don't trust these people. I don't trust these people. It's a common theme for this whole conversation. And like, I put on page 164, I don't think this trial run is going to go very well.
How did you know?
Because of Aura. Aura's a fucking bitch.
Listen, I don't care what anyone says. I get it. You are terrified. You're in this kind of situation. Mira has been on the front line for more than a few years. She has consistently and utterly told you, don't do this. If you don't do this, then we're fine. They can't hear you. They can't do this. They can't do any of these things, whatever. I mean, could it be, I don't know, some type of like sneak attack? Yeah. There's always a chance of that. However, the fact that you are like noticing the wind and the shit going through and like it's a ghost town, why are you jumping off at the like literally the drop of a hat, freaking the fuck out? And you got fire and everything's like flammable. More flammable than you like the meets the eye.
Yeah, and so the whole thing they're not supposed to do is they're not supposed to wield, because the venom can sense like that.
Fucking twitching. Ugh. And then she like something happens. Somebody comes out of one of the buildings. And here's the thing. It was just her and Violet that stayed outside and waited for people to come out of the building. Somebody comes out of the building and she freaks the fuck out and fucking blasts them.
Yeah. Yeah, this bitch is off the squad, okay? And they come out of a different door than they went in, and she fucking panics. And instead of like using her training and analyzing the situation and seeing who the fuck it even is, she just hits them with power. Well,
Yeah.
it was Grady. And now Grady is dead. Like, real quick, dead.
It's like, nice, girly, nice.
Yeah, and then at the bottom of 167, so they're like running to get the fuck back to their dragons and get out of this place because now she's channeled twice. So the Venom know they're there. And at the bottom of the page 167, Aura goes, "This is my fault." Sure is, bitch. Like, sure.
You didn't think it wasn't?
Okay. I'm not going to tell you it's not your fault because it is your fucking fault. Like, we told you twice to chill the fuck out and stop jumping at the bit, and you didn't listen, and now Grady is dead, and we're all running for our lives. You dumb bitch.
Yeah.
Amber fucking Mavis ass bitch.
Yeah. But that's fine. Don't you worry.
Yeah. Because Karma is
sweet.
She's sweet. So page 168, she is running towards her dragon. And she's like, Henson's like, she's gonna make it because he's taking control because he's the captain or whatever. And then a claw reaches for Aura. But before she is free, a talon emerges somewhere near the middle of her spine. It was not her dragon. It was a wyvern. And she is now dead.
Good.
Well. And
Good
again, it was her fault. So don't feel bad for Aura. It's her fault.
She deserved everything that was coming her way anyway, so that's fine.
Honestly. Then Taryn picks up both Xaden and Violet because she begs him to, basically.
He's like, I do not carry him.
Yeah. And then they're like, the other two that were like patrolling on their dragons that did not touch down, one of them is like, I can't believe you let him die. And Xaden's like, Benhaven was a scared cadet who thought he was Venom. The fuck is your excuse? Where were you when the wyverns attacked her? And they're like arguing back and forth. But Mira has the citrine. She's like, I got there first. And the citrine is like cracked and burned because the whole thing. And she's like, shit, if Cortland doesn't accept that, this will all have been for nothing. And Mira's like, that's not why I'm glad I got there first. This is. And she hands her a piece of parchment, and it says Lightning Wielder on the outside. And the inside says, Violet, just a reminder that while I want you to come of your own free will, I'm capable of taking you whenever I wish. Why do you not ask me for the answers you so desperately seek? T.
Theophany. So now the real drama begins, and I'm so much more excited.
Yeah, so that's the end of the chapter. But I was with Violet. I was like, okay, so she either knows I'm looking for Andarna's kind, or she knows I'm looking for the cure. And Xaden's like, she knew we were going to be there. How did she know we were going to be there? And I'm like, how did she know? I'm still in my, like, Violet's a time traveler mindset. Like, Violet is Theophany, and that's how she knew they were going to be there. Or Theophany is Violet.
That would actually be pretty dope, to be honest.
Right? Is that a thing? Like, is time walking a thing in this universe? I don't know. Could be.
That's actually pretty dope, though.
Right. It's a theory. I don't think it's a right theory, but it's a theory.
Yeah. Cool. Chapter 20.
Chapter 20.
Okay, listen, right off the bat, we got a Yaslin in here. So Riddick really wants to go on this quest with them.
Yeah.
Like, he is trying his fucking hardest.
And I now understand what you mean. I was like, what do you mean we have a Yaslin? Okay.
Yeah, we have a Yaslin. And he is, an ice wielder, so he is trying his hardest to do certain things. He's been practicing. And what does he do? He grabs the water from inside an apple.
An orange.
Or an orange, sorry, an orange. And I went like this to my hands, and I immediately was like, Twilight. And then he opens it up, and it's iced over.
Yes.
So, like, his signet is strengthening as well, and he's definitely an asset. So, like, he's coming with regardless. And I was like, okay, Yaslin, love to see it. Definitely want to know if he can, like, freeze their blood. And if he can freeze their blood, is he, like, able to, like, reverse the effects? So, like, could he practice on one of his squad mates?
And, like, unfreeze?
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously practice on the fruit first before
right.
to, like, find it. But, like, that way, I don't know.
Yeah. Yep. I actually did write, it's giving Yaz.
And you're over here like, what?
Yeah, because I didn't look at my notes till after, but yes, I did write that. At the top of that page, he says, because she's like, I don't need you to watch over me. And he's like, I didn't mean it that way. I just think that bad things happen when we aren't together, as in the squad.
Mm-hmm. Because, like, Liam.
Yeah.
He brought that up.
And he's not wrong. Like, bad shit does happen when parts of their squad aren't together.
Yeah.
But then on page 175, I just love their dynamic, Violet and Xaden. They're in front of the scenarium again, or scenarium, however you say it. And Violet's like, basically like, fuck y'all.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck y'all.
The book?
Exactly. I have been spending a lot of time on TikTok the past couple days. Anyway.
It's fine. Will's been showing me videos of where, like, people are just, like, going red in the face and, like, veining just so that they could do the fuck yeah thing. And I showed him a video of mine, and he was like...
Yes. Yes, this is just... this is amazing. So they try to give her new orders, basically. And they're like, there are two extras in the room, and she's like, they're here at my request. And the Duchess is like, you can't be serious. And Halden's like, it's fine, just like shut the fuck up so we can have this conversation. And he says that command is being transferred to Captain Henson. And Violet in her head says to Xaden, is he fucking serious? And Xaden's like, entirely, and kind of smirks. Have fun eating them alive. And then she walks up and like takes the orders.
You can rips them up.
Yeah, she's like, did you read this? They want to search Orisha. And he says, they can get fucked. And then she said, no. And Halden's like, I'm sorry? No. No to your commander. No to your selections. No to searching Orisha. No. And Xaden said, I warned you. And then he says, Halden says, Captain Jarrett is an excellent addition and the best swordsman we have among the riders. That's overly generous, considering I watched Lieutenant Raresen kick his ass without even trying a few months ago at Samara. We tried it your way. And he says, and clearly succeeded, or are you not in possession of the artifact? We lost 2 riders out there because you saddled me with a squad full of people who don't know or trust one another. She's like, I'll take it to Deverelli, but only with a squad of my choosing. And then Mira walks in. She's like, sorry I'm late. Hell of a headwind out of the north. What'd I miss? And Reddit goes, I think Violet's about to lose her shit. And
listen, the banter is going to be chef's kiss in the next coming chapters, and I'm so excited.
She said, and so she says this, and then like tosses the torn up note at Halden and says, it's not the plan. And they, pointing at the people, are not my squad. And then Markham starts talking. Searching Orisha is the first logical course of action. You don't speak. Yes!
All of this hate that is, all of this hate that is just built up is like,
yes. You don't speak. As far as I'm concerned, you have the credibility of a drunkard and the integrity of a rat. You dare to complain about missing 6 years of information on Orisha when you've hidden centuries of our continent's history from the public. Yes.
Get him.
And then Markin's like, you can't speak to a superior officer with such disrespect.
Bitch, yes I can. Watch me. Said, I'll do it again.
In case you missed it, when I crossed the parapet, I am not in your chain of command. And then Atos starts fucking talking.
No, but you're in mine.
Yeah. Fury gets the best of me, and I speak with the authority of Terran and Darna and the Empyrean. Or did you forget that 2 dragons also lost their riders? Yeah. Fuck off, Atos.
Well, and that's the thing, too. Like, did you lose the dragons? Or, like, are they out now? Like, are they dead because of their, their bond?
I don't think so.
Or were they strong enough to...
Yeah, I was going to say, only because she says, did you forget that 2 dragons also lost their riders? So I think that the dragons lived.
I hope. Damn. Choose somebody else. You clearly chose wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know. She's eating him alive, though, that's for sure. And it is...
She sure fucking is.
It is, like... therapeutic.
Yes.
In a way.
And then on page 177, there is a line that I feel in my soul. Because they're like arguing about why Cadet Gamlin is going, which is another writer, I think it's Kat's cousin, who she is bringing along because, in Violet's words, even like Kat deserves to have someone that she trusts implicitly as well. And she's like, wait, where was I at?
You got
she's
so
like justifying
into
her crew, her crew, basically. She's like, blah 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 blah. Lieutenant. Oh, she's like, because Halden is going, and she's like eating him alive, basically, like you said. she's like, Cadet Cordella deserves to have someone she trusts too. Dragons don't carry humans who haven't crossed the parapet or climbed the gauntlet, so you're lucky Griffins are kinder in this regard, or you'd never keep up. Lieutenant Sorrengail is the only rider capable of creating her own words, Mira. Cadet Atos is the only writer I trust who speaks fluent Crovlish, Dane, which is the second most common language used in Deverelli. Cadet Gamlin is dedicated to my personal safety, so that's Riddick, right?
Yeah.
And even
if talked about how they weren't there, things happen.
Yeah. And even if Lieutenant Rierson weren't the deadliest rider in the whole of our forces, which he is, you know Taryn and Sigale cannot be separated, and there's no telling how long we'll be forced to travel. I'm tired of arguing this point. I felt that I'm tired of arguing this point in my soul.
Yes. I was like, listen, if I could have anything tattooed on my fucking forehead, it would be
tired of arguing this point.
This point.
Oh my god.
I was like, yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes, because I feel like we all have that, right? We all have that argument that we have again and again and a fucking again, and people still try to argue about it. I just was talking about this yesterday, mine. I'm not going to go into it here because that'd be a really long side quest, but oh my god. So I felt that line in my soul.
Yeah. Then, that's how I feel every single day of my life at work. Like,
yes, mine is also at work.
Over this. Yeah, it's like, okay, we've already been over this. This cannot happen. Oh, well, I don't understand why. Bitch, I just fucking said why.
Yeah. So at the bottom of page 177 and to the top of page 180 or 178, Xaden and Halden have an exchange. And it is the best fucking thing ever. So they're still arguing, and Halden's like, if I give my permission, and Xaden says, I asked permission of one person on the continent, and it sure as Amari isn't you. And Halden goes, I speak in my father's stead. And he said, right, because he's the one I defer to. Because obviously he's talking about Violet, not the fucking king. Okay, y'all?
Plus, he's also the Duke of Tarandor, so like...
Right, fuck off. So, fuck y'all.
Bitch. Bitch.
Yes.
Bitch, I said what I said.
Yes.
Well, and then... so they have like a few days to go to before... well, okay, not... They have a couple of days to prepare for everything, and they like come together and they're all like talking to each other, and Mira talks to Drake. And here's the thing. At one point in time in one of the books, the last book, basically, they were talking about how Drake would be a formidable like opponent and partner, relationship partner too for Mira. And then they talk to each other and they're like, you gave me one hell of a this, you did this, well fuck you, I did that. And so then they're like fighting, and she knees him straight in the groin, and he like lands, and she's like, you must be Mira.
Yes.
So it's it's great because he's going with 2, Mira's going with, so like everyone's gonna have to like step aside all of their bullshit to work together as a team, and it's gonna be great.
Them so hard.
Oh my god, right? And so she goes, I'll need to provision here, but it looks like I'll have time to read the next volume in that series you love. And it's funny because like everybody's like, oh, that series, that's a great series. And then she's like, Mom's journals.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I also, though, I don't know why, but at the end of this chapter, she's like, we could be only days away from having everything we need, and Darna's family, a cure for Xaden, and whatever it is my father wants me to retrieve from that merchant in Deverelli. And I'm like, do we trust her dad, though?
We've never been given a reason to not trust him.
We haven't, but I just feel like we're putting so much stock and so much, like, hope on his research. I don't know.
Well, To be fair, I mean, if that's the only kind of research that you have and that's the only thing that you've been able to access for whatever reason, I mean, I would probably be dependent on it too.
No, I get that, but I'm just like, I guess maybe I'm just a skeptic because this book has, or this series has been a wild ride so far, but I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those things where you have some type of idea and
Yeah.
you grasp onto it until you can like decide otherwise.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the whole idea behind it. But last chapter.
Last chapter.
We were doing so well on time and then
We
we
were.
fucked up.
Something happened. I don't know what happened.
We
Chapter
opened our
21.
fucking mouth is what happened. We
Chapter
stopped.
21. They are going to.
Listen, this is fucking comical, okay? Like, I'm telling you what, they're flying across the fucking ocean. They're trying, to keep Zayden in the air as much as possible to test the riders. And the fucking riders are carrying Halden in a fucking basket.
It's giving like the Great and Powerful Oz with this little basket.
Yes. It's just so funny because he's like cramped in there and he's like. It's oh my god, it's so funny. So they're stopping in Corden, which is where Takaris is. And so they stop down and they're like, first of all, we have some wonderful everything between Taryn and Adarna. Adarna's starving. And Adarna's like, well, fine, I'm gonna go find food. I'm gonna go find all of these things. And Taryn's like, no, we must not be like, we're guests here. And of course the Gale just flies away because like
Sigale just does what Sigale does.
yeah. But also it's Zayden's dragon and he's welcome there basically. So
Yeah.
She's just like, what the fuck? I want to go eat. And Taryn's sitting there like waiting. And then they start flying off and Darna's just arguing and he's like, get back here, Darna. Get back here right now. Ugh, you're insufferable. Like it's like, yeah, and Darna, you're giving him a run for his money. He's finally seeing a teenage daughter.
Yes, but it's just she's like, you're such a centenarian. Perhaps my kind will not be such killjoys. Perhaps they will feast as they see fit. Perhaps they will. Oh, what is that? A mammoth red horned tortoise, and absolutely not. The shell will embed between your teeth, and I will not carry you and a festering tortoise shell.
Here.
Get back here.
Yeah, she flies away, not listening to him.
Yes.
She's like, oh, nope. Okay, bye.
Oh my gosh. I was cracking up. And then page 186. Okay, 185 into 186 kind of, but they're like, it's Halden and they're all trying to decide where they're going to room, and Violet is basically dead on her feet because of all the time they've been in the saddle. And Zayden is trying to like kind of bait Halden, and he's like, but Violet's real slow on the uptake here, okay? So Zayden's like, am I here as a professor or the Duke? And Halden goes, obviously you're a fucking Duke. Llewellyn made sure of it, didn't he? Second most powerful title in the kingdom, blah, 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 blah. And Zayden says, so I'm not here with the authority of a professor. You have no authority. I'm the ranking officer here. And Zayden's like, so not a professor. And Halden said, no, not a fucking professor. Just wanted to clear that up.
He just wants to have
picks up Violet and walks into his bedroom.
It's like, all right, we found our room. Bye.
Yeah. And I was just like, Violet's a bit slow on the uptake here because she's not understanding what Zayden's point is.
She's just so tired. She's just ready to put her feet up and like,
yeah.
relax. Well, and it's great too because he gets to see he gets to see Holden like pissed off again, and that's also his point of going for that. But he also what is it? He's also back. Continue. I'll figure it out in a second.
So yeah, they're like getting some rest, and then Takaris comes in.
Takaris does come in because he's the one who makes the next comment that I was going to comment on.
Yeah, and Zane's like, make it quick. The prince cannot arrive in a basket. Oh, but I like the prince in the basket.
That's what I said. I was like, no, he's got to leave him in the basket. He's a baby that needs rocking to sleep.
Yeah. Especially because I just imagine, like, you know how in, like, anime when they're, like, mad and they have the little, like, lines coming off their head and their eyes are, like, super dramatic.
Yeah, like the little, like, red box kind of thing, yeah.
Yes. I'm just imagining him in the basket, like, with that happening.
Listen, if anyone's going to do any remakes, it's got to be animated. It's the only way.
I feel like a fourth-wing anime or even just an animated series, but anime would probably be the best, would be the way to go.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So I liked The Prince in the Basket, but Takaris is going to ruin that for us like Takaris does, and he's going to take him on a ship.
That's fine. We can get him away, though.
Yeah. And that's going to make them get there faster, basically. And then they are flying, and they're flying like across the ocean, across the sea.
Yeah, they're getting ready to fly across the ocean
to go to
Deverelli,
and at one point they lose communication. Like she can hear Taryn and Darna, but that's it. She can't hear Xaden or Sigale, and neither can Taryn. So, yeah, don't like that. That's going to cause some complications.
I was like, okay, so no magic. Now what?
Right, exactly.
But
then that's the end of chapter 21 in this episode.
Yeah. So, until next time.
Bye.